Howdy, folks. This is Ted Lasso, your favorite optimistic American football coach turned English football coach. And welcome to the Richmond Way, a Ted Lasso rewatch podcast. So grab your biscuits, put on your AFC Richmond scarf, and let's embark on this journey together.
Hello. We've been here
Hello.
for a minute, but welcome to Ted Lasso, Richmond Way podcast. With me, as always, is Mark and Bonnie. Today we
Hi.
have lead instigator Kenny Madison joining us.
What?
Lead instigator?
What?
And if you want to know why we're saying that, check out the bonus features and you'll
That's
see the first
exactly.
15 minutes of the show.
Look, I just think that Ted Lasso is an overrated show. And
He's
that's
been
what I'm
snapping
here.
some necks.
That's
Well, this has been great. See you guys later.
right. No.
Yeah, Kenny is Ted Lasso podcasting. I guess you're not royalty because there's not like a blood lineage to it, but maybe I
It
don't
might
know.
be.
Maybe we'll have to do a DNA
We're
test after
Americans.
the
Do we
show.
really know how the crown works?
That's a different show. So, straight. Do you remember when The Crown did a crossover with Ted Lasso?
No. I don't know anything about the crown. I'm American.
Imelda Staunton and Jason Sudeikis on screen together. It's good.
Is this real?
No.
Oh,
I
man.
was going to say, when was he on the crown? Who did he play? Okay, I haven't seen the newest season yet.
Although
Played
Michael
the crown.
C. Hall, Dexter Morgan was on The Crown, and he played JFK.
Was that this? Wait,
That was like
when did I?
that was an Olivia Colman season.
Oh, I think I skipped the first few and
They're
I
just
jumped to the Princess
Name
Diana
dropping left and
season.
right, and it's not helping me at all.
I
I'd
need
have
to
to
go
look
see
and watch
Michael
The
C. Hall
Crown.
as JFK though.
This is
I
my
need to go
brain,
see
and
that.
I'm sorry, that's the way that it works. I don't remember important things, which I should, but I remember,
Listen,
random
Michael
useless
C.
movies and
Hall
TV trivia.
as my 1960s hall pass is a very important thing to remember, my friend.
He's your
So-
Michael C. Your hall pass.
No,
Rich.
JFK.
Oh,
If I get a time machine, it's on. That's all I'm saying.
I heard that he was
I am
blow
the
your
time
mind.
traveler
That
of the
was
group.
probably bad.
Not allowed.
Whatever terrible joke you just thought of, Mark, I've already thought of it.
I was
Yep.
like, was that in poor taste? I don't know. Anyways,
I make that joke all the time. Anyways,
anyways,
everybody here's learning a lot about me today. Whoops.
I'm pleased. I love learning.
This is what Bonnie,
Got another
after
wrinkle in
dinner,
your brain.
brings to the table.
Mm-hmm.
anyways.
Anyways,
uh,
we're this is episode 6 of the podcast where we talk about episode 5 of the show, entitled
Matt.
Tan Lines.
Does anyone else have tan lines?
No, not anymore. I used to back in high school.
There you go.
Oh, look at that.
There's a tan line.
Looks
I
like
live in
a-
New
Apple
York.
Watch
Oh,
line.
I got a thumbs down for some reason. I don't know how that happened. I
Oh,
didn't
wait,
even do the
I have one
gesture.
from my Apple Watch band. Oh no, you can't
Nice.
see it. I'm still white. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, I live in New York and it's wintertime. There's no sun here.
I live in Southern California, but I don't go outside, so
There's another one. I mean, she fights vampires, and they're usually on at night, so
it's true.
kind of how.
Hey,
how it
they
goes.
sparkle now. They can go out during the day.
The
They
hell they do.
They sparkle now?
Yeah.
They sparkle now.
Thank you, Mark.
I
there
heard.
vampires in Ted
I heard
Lasso?
I heard the Batman also sparkles.
We would never know.
But he's cool because he's in Hufflepuff, so it's all right.
Top 3 favorite Batman movies. We'll talk about that later.
The third one better be.
Which third one?
Yeah, there's like a
Several
53rd one.
No, she said top 3, so I said the third
Top
one
3 for me.
better
Oh.
be.
Anyway, we're talking about tan lines here, not actual tan
Tan lines.
Mhm.
Tan
The episode
Lasso.
Tan lines,
Jason Sudeikis also in this Batman movie.
where Ted's wife and child have come in to visit him for the first time, and it doesn't go the way you'd think.
Oh boy.
Or does it? I'm trying to push off all of the stuff from this episode to make it optimistic
We know we haven't talked a
Uh,
word about it yet.
because I feel feel like this episode's you may see me cry in this recording. So let's just keep
I
moving
cried
on from
watching it. It's cool.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's fine.
yeah. We're probably gonna
Let's
be
talk
ending
about
it
it.
here, but anyways, this
Let's
aired
dig
back in
in.
August of 2020, where everybody was crying a lot.
I wasn't.
Well,
Not for another couple of weeks when I actually got COVID. Then
Oh
Yeah.
it
dear.
was painful.
I didn't get until this year. Anyways, smacking your head. That was one of the best things in this episode was just Jason Sudeikis doing more physical comedy. And I feel like I don't remember which one. I think there's a jump and he hit his head, and that one was not planned. But this one I think was like planned, like to be in the episode. But I don't know.
I'm perplexed what he hit his head on. Was it like a security
it's like a
door?
little, I don't know. It's like some lower overhang thing that he wasn't paying attention to because he was looking at his phone.
But he's gone in and out of that door so many times. I just haven't seen it until he actually hit his head. That's what
It's
I'm.
because it was added there so that he could hit his head.
Oh yeah, I
at the
get
beginning
that.
of this
part.
episode.
So what
That's
say you, Kenny? What are your thoughts on this episode?
This is my favorite episode of Ted Lasso. Period.
Poor
I think
K.
I think a lot of it has to do with the surprise factor of
Mm.
it. Much like like a lot of people, I came about this show through recommendations of people like that Ted Lasso show is actually much better than you think because I saw the advertisements and I went, not for me. This looks big and
Yeah,
broad.
Christmas.
Chris
You're gonna want to stop
Moss?
doing that, Mark.
Chris Moss?
Yeah, go off. Can you tell? Bonnie knows.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So I got a recommendation from my buddy Asaf to watch this show, and I was watching the show, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. This isn't anything that is completely new, but it's nice. It's pleasant. And through those first 4 episodes, there's this simmering tension of what the heck happened with Ted and his wife.
Correct.
And I think a lesser show would have saved that until the very end. No, the show drops the bomb here. And the answer is nothing really. Nothing really happened. Because
What
it
happened
made
was Ted isn't real. He puts on a facade. Everyone.
it's more complicated than that because it's not only that Ted is putting on a facade, but his wife is attempting to do the best that she can because she sees it's just not working and she wants it to work. She's trying to make it work and she just can't. And Ted, being the codependent that he is, which gets fleshed out over the rest of the season, spoiler alert, and just the rest of the show, period. I recognize a lot of that in myself. He attempts to kill the whole situation with kindness, which then makes her feel worse, which then drives a wedge further, and it's complicated.
It is.
A lesser show would have said that she's a cheating harlot, or he's a cheating harlot, or just some sort of contrivance as opposed
Which may have happened. We don't know.
no. My head canon is whatever they tell me happened on the show.
That their therapist sucks.
Yes, it's complicated. And I love that complication because the most complicated writing choice as a comedy person, the most complicated choice is that you have something this honest. It resonated with me so strongly, having been in a very similar situation myself where I was in a relationship and I was just like, this isn't working and I can't understand why.
Mhm.
There's nothing on the table. There's no facts. There's no data. I can't point to anything. It's so frustrating, but I don't want to let go. And that spoke to me so much. And then just from a comedy writing aspect, by taking that choice away, you are taking away so much, I hate to say comedic material because it's the emotional backbone of the whole first, or part of the emotional backbone of the first whole season, but choosing to deflate that conflict by saying it's complicated. It's so challenging. And then that to me felt like a mission statement of this is what the show is going to do. Instead of comedy writing, like, for instance, Bill Lawrence's other show, Scrubs, which revels in cliches. And I'm not saying that as a pejorative. That's just the way that it is. It's a real comfort watch. I like watching that show. But
I can agree with that.
as opposed to Scrubs, which found a lot of contrivances, that even the further that it went on, and it starts to strain credulity. This episode specifically goes, we're going to go out of our way to subvert expectations by choosing the positive choice as a storytelling choice. And that, as a comedy fan, like, got me, like, I was pumping my fists at being like, yes, here is something that is trying to change the storytelling landscape and trying to tell stories in a new, interesting, and relevant way, especially considering the dark times that we are in, but especially whenever the show was written in 2019, to dare to try to tell a story of positivity in a not necessarily realistic way, but like this positivity exists in a realm of negativity, and I'm still making the active choice to try and be kind. That's hard. That's challenging. You could have had a much easier job in the writer's room if you just decided to be more negative. They took that away. They took those bumpers away, and this is going to sound wild, but to me, it felt really subversive at the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, if it was like any other sports coach thing, if they wanted to portray it as true, they probably would have had him been screaming, yelling, negative, down on his players, but somehow gets the best out of them physically, not mentally, emotionally. He gets them to win through that notion, which we saw in the NBC Sports Shorts, episode 1 of this podcast.
Well, 0.
That's 1.
0.
Okay.
Episode 1, which was about episode 0.
Correct.
Like Star Wars.
It's like poetry at Rise.
Maybe.
Episode
Yeah.
a few episodes back.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you haven't watched that
Well,
one,
technically, episode
go
1
back
is a
and
Christmas special.
go back and watch it. Yeah. Semantics.
But
Yes.
we're good at math here.
We're
We
great at
used,
math.
And
it's
you
the
know,
metric system. I'll just blame that.
I love this episode, and I love the first season so much that me and my friend Johnny and I started, as far as I know, the first Ted Lasso podcast. Period.
We'll give it to you.
I think that was the first one that I listened to, Kenny.
Thank you for your service, Mark.
You're welcome.
Big fan of this episode. It's a marvelous episode.
And you were the first person to ask us to if you could come on the show too. On this
Kenny
one,
told us we had to start a podcast just so we could talk about this episode.
yes.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you started with this episode. Episode 1 about episode 5, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
As far as you know.
What do y'all think of tan lines?
I mean,
What say
they
you,
can.
Bonnie?
I mean, I guess they can be kind of look weird if you have a lot of them.
I was writing down a note. Sorry.
She found
Uh,
Kenny's address. Beware.
She was adding me to her hit list.
Sure.
Both of those things are true. For legal purposes, that's a joke. No, I really liked it. I forgot it was sad because, again, like the first time I watched season 1, well, this is my second time watching the show, but the first time I saw it through pretty much all of season 1, I was sitting like in my living room and working, just had it on in the background because I thought like, oh, you can probably get away with that. I missed a lot of crap, so that's why we're redoing it. But I didn't realize how good it was and how sad it was. And at the end, I'm sitting there like my eye is leaking. I'm like, ah. Especially when you've been through it. And it's really good. And at the time, I hadn't quite been through that exact scenario, but now I have. And it was very interesting to watch that But I really liked a lot of it. I liked the endings and the new beginnings that took place, where they really show a lot of something is ending, and like you'd basically said, Kenny, sometimes it's just it's not because you hate the person, and it's not because of things not working for specific reasons, but sometimes it just doesn't work out.
That
For
was
one
like
reason, a multitude of reasons doesn't mean you hate them, doesn't mean you have any whatever. It just sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't work out. And people can try, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I think that show, like, they really showed how they're both trying to make it work. Ted tried to make it work by moving based on that advice from his therapist. If you give people space, maybe that'll make it work, which seems antithetical. But then they're both saying, like, I tried. The only thing I know we're jumping ahead, but we're talking about all the themes.
you're
I
good.
didn't necessarily agree with his wife saying, "You're letting me go." And I'm like, that's kind of a choice on both of your ends.
Mhm.
I took issue.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, but you're also letting him go." So that's not a I kind of felt like she put a lot of the blame just on him in that moment, and I didn't like that. I was like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm gonna go fight for Ted right
Well,
now." So
I have some
I
of that in
felt
my
she said it
foreshadowing.
because
Yeah.
she had already let go and was just kind
mm,
of there because he hadn't let go. Like she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
maybe he can change my mind."
Where
ah,
where she had let go, but for him was trying to re-grab. I don't know.
huh. Okay.
I mean, yeah, because they have that discussion in the kitchen where Ted says Oklahoma because
Mhm.
Michelle is crying, and Michelle, it's very like it's very clear that I mean they're playing it with Henry, they're playing with Legos, and there's a simulation of a working family where
Yeah.
as long as you're keeping the activities going on, it feels right, but there's still this nagging thing,
Yeah.
and they're both. I mean, they're both trying to make it work. I agree with you, Bonnie.
I mean, I often cry when I play with Legos, but that's for another reason.
Well, that's because you're
I
stepping
cry
on
when
them.
I step on
That's
Legos.
not. Yeah, I was gonna be like, that's not how you're supposed to play with Legos, Mike. You're supposed to put them together, not step on them.
Where's the fun
Oh,
in that?
oops.
I thought that's how you click them in. You stomped on them.
That's right.
I mean,
See,
that's one way to do it. You could connect
the wrong
them.
way to do it. Mega blocks them.
Du-
What
you
say
could,
you, Mark?
you could
Duplo?
Duplo them.
Those are still Legos.
Yeah. Yeah. You could dollar store Lego brand them. I don't know.
That's Mega blocks. Mark, what do you think about this episode? Feel free to say
all right.
pass.
Do you want to go last, Mark?
Yeah, I'll let Mike
He is good.
before.
Yeah. What
You
do you
go,
think
Mike.
about this episode, Mike?
Everything's already been said. Mark, what do you think about this episode?
No. What do you
All
think about this episode, Mike?
No, I'm good. Playing. You
I'm-
can wait. I can go.
I'm very in my head about this episode. To not like really say a lot, but yeah. This episode hit me much, much, much differently than when I watched it 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. I ended up
I can go. I
identifying.
can step in whenever you want. You
It's
can-
okay. Yeah, I ended up identifying with a lot of stuff that was going on in this episode too, and like kind of like what you guys are saying with like with certain things not being like anyone's like fault or anything like that, or just kind of something over time
Mm-hmm.
that can happen. But I don't know. My eyes were getting very sweaty watching
Yeah.
this episode.
You were
Yeah,
cutting
so-
onions. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Mine were too. Somebody
were
was
just as a-
chopping onions from here to where you are. Just some ton of onions.
But
I mean,
there's a lot
for-
of funny stuff in this episode too.
Disagree. Let's go back to how you're feeling, Mark.
Funny stuff is making me feel.
You could laugh yourself to well up
Yeah.
tears.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Like the peanut butter.
Yeah, which I didn't realize.
Like claiming Man of Steel was good. Oh, too soon.
Hey now.
Bonnie's gonna make you cry.
Hey now, Mike. Hey now.
And then I will laugh.
Hey now.
But yeah, I didn't realize even like I don't remember what episode I made that reference to. I think because our time is like a weird thing because we're doing these episodes like on a delayed kind of thing where like when we're recording this one, our Biscuits episode just came out, so little
What's
peek
the
behind the curtain
question?
to people there. Is I think I made a reference to the peanut butter in that one, but it's top of my mind because we all like watched it for the edit. Yeah, but I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I kind of spoiled the peanut butter and the finger
Just
in the
keep doing
peanut butter,
this the whole
which
episode. Just use your strong hand.
I don't know what to do with my hands. If you don't chew Big Red, you.
Cute.
That's the
By the
second
way,
Leviticus
that
reference.
peanut butter trait of Ted's I find disgusting.
It's truly abhorrent.
Hey.
Yes.
No. Roy said that's actually a pretty
Good idea, to be fair.
pretty effing good idea.
Use a spoon. That's all I'm saying.
He is. The spoon is his fingers.
That's just abhorrent, as Kenny said. I'm going to echo that word.
I'll use a spoon, but I would absolutely leave it out on the counter
It's
because
actually
I
absorbent.
would love
It's
to just eat
absorbent.
peanut butter all day long, but it would make my job really hard.
A question for the panel.
We're
Is
only
anyone
taking quandaries.
what?
We're only accepting quandaries at this time.
Fine quandary for the panel.
This is
Okay.
why you're the captain tonight. You said
Uh,
quandary.
Quandary. Does anyone eat? Maybe this is just me a while ago. Because I don't do this now.
I
Does
don't
anyone
believe you.
eat peanut butter from the refrigerator? Like they keep their
Yes.
peanut butter. It's so
Well,
good.
Negative.
Mhm.
I only put peanut butter in the refrigerator if I get like that natural peanut butter that's gonna like the
Oh,
oil will
yeah.
separate.
Turn it upside down.
No, I'm gonna. Okay, best
Here we
peanut
go.
butter ever is the creamy peanut butter from Trader Joe's. Just the regular creamy peanut butter from Trader Joe's. It doesn't do the oil separation. It will rock your world.
Dang.
I go Peter Pan, crunchy all the way.
Skippy protein peanut butter.
And I don't eat peanut butter anymore because it's a slippery slope.
Mm-mm.
A
It's a gateway butter.
It is. Oh boy, it really is.
gateway butter. Butter.
Okay,
Oh.
really good fudge recipe. Okay, tub of chocolate frosting, tub of peanut butter.
Go.
Microwave them. Microwave. Put it in a bowl. Microwave. Mix it together.
Are you
Put it in
trying
the
to make
fridge.
me gain back all the weight that I lost over a period of time?
I'm
Bonnie?
trying to not gain back mine too, but I'm saying easy 2-ingredient
Bonnie,
fudge. It will rock your
Italian and
world.
Jewish. She's gonna fatten you up.
You know what
Yeah.
peanut butter I'm gonna eat? I'm gonna eat that peanut butter that Charlie Pace and Claire ate on Lost because that has
The
0
invisible one?
calories. Yeah.
It's okay. I'm trying not
Yeah,
to
it's
not
0
gain my
calories.
80 pounds back. I get it.
Oh.
But like you can have like a little bit.
Well, I guess unless you go by Hook rules and then you just imagine that it's real food, and then by you imagining it's real food, you start to eat it, and then it is real
Bangarang.
food. And you just gotta say bangarang.
When I made that cake for Adam's birthday. That
Required-
imagination pie, but as a cake.
It required no
Bangarang.
ingredients other than
No
imagination.
ingredients, just a trip to Ralph's.
Quandary for the panel.
You have
Do
to
you
ask
think-
it in the form of a question.
Do you think Ted Lasso likes the movie Hook?
Yes.
Hell yes. He likes.
I feel like
better.
he watches it before and like cries before he goes to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
Everyone should like the movie Hook.
yeah.
agree.
Everyone.
T-
I know a
Ted's
guy if
cool.
you ever want to talk about it on the show.
I had to be stopped from talking about it to strangers in a restaurant.
Okay.
So,
Sir,
Okay.
this is an Arby's.
I forgot this was
Oh,
right next
that's
to me.
Cool.
I just happened
I
to be
worked
right
with
next
him
to me.
once. That's fun.
Yeah, Dante Bosco's cool. All right. Anyways. But
Oh,
yeah,
right
guys,
as I was about to show you a picture of the cake. Look at that.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
That's fab.
I don't make cakes. That was labor intensive. I wish I could have just imagined it. It's fine.
Thank you. Thank you for your cake service.
Absolutely.
Did you throw it at his face?
Hmm.
No,
Great question.
but it did get eaten by a small child, so I feel like there's some sort of messiness inherent in that. So peanut
Oh.
butter.
Peanut
Yeah,
butter.
Peanut butter.
I liked how the peanut butter came up in this show too, because of Ted telling Jamie to like it's that whole extra pass that spoil becomes a it's like how many times I gotta tell you
How many times I gotta tell you to make the extra pass? I mean, come on, Sam was more open than the jar of peanut butter on my kitchen counter. Oh, that's right. Y'all don't know I like to keep the peanut butter open. That way, whenever I walk by, I can just stick my finger in it.
That's actually really smart.
Yeah, I like this is like another one of like those little chips at Roy too, where he's like, oh, that's actually a fucking good idea, to be fair. And the Ted's like, yeah, it is. So, that's what I'm just liking, like these like little chips that we're getting of Roy too, like a little bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it helps that Brett wrote the episode.
That's true too. Yeah, Brett Goldstein did write this episode. So,
Great Roy moments in it. The more I watch, the more I love him. I'm like, oh. Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about the opening joke of this episode
Absolutely.
from Higgins' wife? Like,
Almost did my job with the
how
hut
tame-
right there.
it's just like, I hope she dies of heart disease. So tame, so calm. And then Higgins is like, oh, he's just, the way he reacts.
Oh, and tell your boss, I hope she gets heart disease.
The way he reacts was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, Jeremy Swift's wife too.
Oh, that is a fun fact. I didn't know that.
It's pretty cool. I don't know if
Well, they
Actually,
have
they're
great
kids in the show, though.
chemistry.
that would be kind of
she
interesting
recast
if
on
if
this
that was their
episode?
kids. No, it's always his real life wife.
That's
I think-
fun.
Kenny, you had Jeremy Swift on Lasso Cast, didn't you?
We did, yes.
How-
It was
on a-
one of our
On
first
a
big gets.
on a ranking of awesome to super awesome, how awesome is Jeremy Swift?
I mean, he was fabulous. He was talking with us about his music career. He was talking about his big honking hard drives that were filled up with music.
Nice.
He was so. And also, he didn't have to give us the time of day. He was busy making TV show. Why? It was amazing. Although I gotta say, the nicest one was Tahib Jamal, who plays Sam. Like he did our silly little podcast while he was shooting a film in South Africa. He'd just gotten off of a plane after like 21 hours. I'm sure that I'm getting that number wrong. And
It was
instead of
23.
it was
You could watch-
23 hours.
You could watch all 9 Star Wars movies in that time.
Not to say that Jeremy Swift planning on it. Not to say that Jeremy Swift wasn't a lovely, but like he got off the plane, then was like did our podcast for some reason, then apologized to us because he didn't have a working laptop. Went to commandeer his friend's laptop to do the episode with us, and then also Christopher Fernandez, and also Mo Judy Lamore. Which
Zodal.
every episode that we got to do with Mo was fabulous. Yeah,
Nice. Just
Speaking of Sam.
slapping the bass.
slapping dip, yes. I'm not sure I can do that anymore.
Mentioning Sam, we have another good Sam moment come up pretty early on in this episode
So it's my
where he
favorite.
comes over. I heard my name.
I heard my name. What did he say? Don't worry about it. Oh, okay. Guys, we got plans.
It was
Sam is, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Sam is one of my favorite characters on the show. Just because kind of like what you were saying with Ted, Mike, is that like that Ted is a nice guy, but you can see that like he's bearing some of his stuff under the optimism, whereas Sam feels like he is like that, like is Sam, like Sam just like is that way. He's just like a inherently good, nice,
right.
kind person. So that's why Sam is awesome. And this is also in this episode where we hear the "Be a Goldfish," or no, it's not.
That was not
Yeah, see-
this episode.
this is the problem of
This was
watching
Biscuits.
our Biscuits episode like 2 days ago, then watching this episode of Ted Lasso, and then being like, wait, what was in this episode in my head? Anyways,
Anyways.
I guess I actually do have the memory of a goldfish because I forgot. Hi Kenny, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, I'm
Episode 5 for
I'm
Tail.
extremely pleased to be here.
What are
Hi,
your
I'm
thoughts
Tom.
of Man of Steel?
It's a complicated film. It's a complicated film.
All right, good night, guys. I'll see you later.
Took me
Mike,
4 episodes to make Bonnie leave.
Mike, you didn't actually say what your thoughts on tan lines were.
I know I didn't. I was trying to glaze over that fact.
Sure. Oh, are you not a fan of this episode?
No, I am. My thoughts are differing from everyone's.
That's good.
I was trying to keep the episode flowing, as it
Ah.
were. But the episode it was great. It was kind of the first time we get Ted in a different light. He's kind of forced to live his emotions in this episode, and he can't suppress them. We kind of see him start to overflow with Jamie. We kind of see him
Oh yeah.
hurt, like we
Slightly
initially see him
irritated.
hurt himself walking into the doorway, but then the realization that he can't nice his way into what he wants in the end.
Yeah.
I teared up on the first time I watched it. Teared up again this time watching it. So it was well written. There's the demise of Jamie Tart kind of starts in this episode, like the crumbling of him, not like the demise. Like
Oh.
he's
Sexy Squidward.
like he is sexy Squidward. He
I
is,
hate it so much.
but it's not wrong.
Ugh. Continue.
It's just a lot of walls they started to crumble and are at the point of, are they going to be repaired or are they going to be held up in shambles to keep the characters the same? And this was like the breaking point episode for me. Like Rebecca's kind of coming down because she's befriending Keeley. She
Yeah.
kind of succumbing to Ted's niceness. And then it just, at the end, with the ending of the episode, you can see it kind of her trying to hold it back up, her hatred of him.
Yes. I gotta correct you there. Rebecca's not befriending Keeley. Keeley makes the active choice of befriending Rebecca, and I love that choice because adult friendships are extremely difficult, and Keeley shows us how to do it by just being like, you know what, I'm just deciding to be your friend, which is
I
outstanding.
guess Rebecca's buying into that decision. She's not fighting it, is what I'm thinking.
Yes. Yeah, because she wants to keep those walls up because she's hurt.
Mhm.
Because everyone at this point is extremely hurt, which is why the Lasso way, the Richmond way, is able to work its magic the way that it does. Because it does end up just becoming a treatise about how hurt people, at least with season 1. And then season
true.
2 subverts that in a really interesting and exciting way.
And this is like part of like Keeley becoming more part of like the AFC Richmond like team, whereas
Yes.
like because this is like where Rebecca basically offers her that like essentially like the becoming like the brand ambassador ish kind of
Yeah.
because of like what she was already doing for Jamie.
If any of the other players needed some branding work done, is that something you'd be interested in?
I don't want you to offer me a job just because I was nice to you in the loo the other night.
Why not?
We get like this weird scene with Jamie like doing like the promotion for like the alcohol.
Got to show his tats. That's Chinese for arm.
It's my
Chinese for arm.
baby.
It means stranger in a strange land. But and he's like, you've never heard of a brunicorn, and he's like, yeah, they're doing the baby.
It's all for free.
But yeah, I had
That's why
forgotten.
you have brand ambassadors.
I had forgotten like this was even like that was even how like Keeley became like part of like how that was how that happened.
She didn't do any of the other jobs.
None. None of the other
None.
jobs. Not one. Not one. Yeah, because we meet her at the tail end of her model career, which is
Kind of famous
fascinating.
for being sort of famous.
Yeah. And then decides to
That's
be
that's how a lot of reality show stars are, is that they're famous for being kind of famous.
yeah,
Most, I'd say.
yeah,
It's not all.
97%.
yes. And then she dumps Jamie and decides to be a girl boss, which I support.
Mm-hmm. Man, he sucks so bad.
Yeah, I was like, man,
I keep putting that in the weekly notes, like Jamie sucks so bad. Except
Yeah,
for one moment. One moment in this episode, I will give him one moment he didn't suck.
Describe.
When he signed Henry's jersey.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Even though
Why
he
do you
was
think
like,
he did
"This will
that,
be
Bonnie?
for
Oh.
you." Yeah, well, he could have been mean to the kid. He could have been mean. He could have made that choice.
Crap right now. Hey, big guy, there he is. Hey.
Gee, Tart,
Hello, little lads.
what are you saying my shirt?
All right, turn around.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Now, next time I score a goal, it won't just be for me. It'll be for you too. And for me, but just for us.
Cool.
Good lad.
true.
But
I
does
felt like he
use
was doing that to manipulate Ted.
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But he could have been mean to a kid.
It's true.
He could
I
have
took
just
it as that's what
totally
he
gone
wanted
there.
Roy to do for him.
Wish
It never
Roy
got.
signed my jersey when I was a little kid.
Mhm. That was the one
Yeah,
moment
it was
where I
definitely
like,
manipulation
"All
of Ted.
right." 100%. He could have just kicked Henry in the face. He didn't.
That would be so fascinating. I'm here talking about the subtleties of the writing of Ted Lasso. Then, on the other hand, Jamie just kicks a kid in the face.
Yeah,
the hell
but he
just
didn't.
happened?
I want that to happen now.
Yeah. Mark, make that happen.
We'll fix it in
what?
post.
Yeah, you fix it in post. Put a filter
What?
on it. There's a kicking
can get-
filter in Premiere.
After Effects?
We can just put their faces on the bodies of the Spartans from Zack Snyder's 300.
Yeah, you can do that, right?
Yeah.
That's easy. Take like what?
Yeah.
30 seconds?
Or- That's like a full trip to Mars.
I'm telling you, that's a band, not the actual length of time it takes to go to Mars.
I'm never stopping.
Hmm.
Anyways, one of the other things that I liked in here too is there's like I don't remember exactly where it was in the episode, but where Ted like gives something to Henry, or like does something for Henry, and he tells him, like, what do you say? And then he says thank you. He's like, oh, some people's kids.
That right there, that's a scone. Okay? Basically like a muffin, except it sucks all the spit out of your mouth. There's your breakfast. All right. Hey, what do you say? Okay, there you go. Some people's kids. Holy moly.
And I thought
That was a tension-breaking joke for his wife, I feel.
Oh, I didn't even know that she was there though. Like, was she? I thought he was just by himself.
No.
Because it sounded like he said
was
it
in
under his
the-
breath. Was she?
He
Oh,
did
okay.
say it under his breath, but she was there. Because it was right around the time that I feel like right when she was in the living room crying and he comes in and then
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like there was the like a little thing in here too. It was kind of like it was like the precursor, like origins of the Diamond Dogs before they became the Diamond Dogs, because you see like all the members of it basically doing the Diamond Dog stuff. They have not become the Diamond Dogs yet, because we have not gotten to the episode called the Diamond Dogs.
Doesn't he call it
We
the
have
Sanctum
not.
Sanctorum or something like that?
Yeah, I think he
What
did.
is
He
not?
does say something about like the sanctum. He says something like that. But
Anywho.
yes, Ken.
Quandary for the panel, if I may be so permitted.
Request denied.
Oh no! Oh no!
You're such a
We're done
fun
with
captain.
We're done with quandaries.
Oh man! Then I have
We're on oddities.
odd.
You can choose potent potable, Kenny.
I'm gonna choose.
Potables.
I have an oddity for the panel.
Okay.
Because this episode resonated for me so much on the first watch, where it just let me know that this was different from other comedy shows. Like, during y'all's first watch through, because everyone has watched the show at least once here, right?
In
I've
theory.
watched it
In
30 times.
Oh,
Probably.
that's incredible. And I had a Ted Lasso podcast. Oh boy, that's so many times. Oh my gosh. Whenever you first encountered,
Insomnia is a real thing.
I
That's-
understand. Whenever you encountered this episode, was this whenever Ted Lasso clicked into something special for you, or did it hook you like from the pilot? And if so, was it for similar reasoning? Whenever it hooked you, what made it special for you that made you indulge so much that you ended up eventually making a podcast about Ted Lasso?
Mm.
I don't know
Well,
if there's one specific episode for me.
I know
I think
for
it was
me,
just the show as a whole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so charming and it's so
Yeah.
nice and soothing. At least the first two seasons. The third season is trying something very different, and I think it loses its easy vibes for something
Fair.
else. But I still watched each episode twice.
this was the episode someone sent me a clip from before I had ever started watching it, and that's what got me to watch it, because that person knew I was a Back to the Future fan, and this was the episode that
Ronald
has
Reagan.
yeah Coach
Oh.
Reagan. Ronald Reagan, the actor. And he's like, man, I love when you do Coach Brown, and that was like
Coach
the
Brown.
Yeah, Coach
God damn
Brown
it.
from Back to the
He
Future.
says-
Doc Brown. God damn it. Anyway, I'm looking at Back to the Future stuff in front of me. Anyways, yeah.
Coach Brown, Martin McFly.
yeah.
McFly.
They
Ted
go back.
McFly, Martin McLasso.
Yeah, they go back in a Chevrolet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got the wheel on the other side.
That's right. Anyways,
But yeah, someone sent me that clip from the episode. I was like, oh, what's this show? I was like, I guess I'll check that out. Sing Back to the Future. And then went
It
to
was-
the first episode and
it was
watched.
off to the races.
Proceeded to watch it with my wife and my son.
which, knowing that Brendan Hunt and Sudeikis and Joe Kelly have known each other for decades at this point, to me feels like so much just like, I know that Brendan Hunt kind of has a Christopher Lloyd impression here. Let's write it into the script. We want that because that's funny.
Yeah. And you know who's
Why
met
not?
met Ronald Reagan? Jack from season 3.
I've lost.
No, Jack from season 3 of Ted. Keely's Jack.
Oh,
Because she did it for all mankind.
get out, Mark. Get out. Get out. Get out.
Keeping it in
We're
the
not there
Apple
yet.
Keeping it in the Apple TV wheelhouse. So
What
I know I
about
just
you?
started watching For All Mankind. Go ahead.
What about you, Bonnie?
I was introduced to the show by one of my best friends over a year ago. She's like, "You need to watch it." I'm like, "Fine, okay, fine. I'll get around to it. Fine." So that's why I sat there and I watched it while I was working and I had it on in the background.
Mhm.
But it was really these guys. These guys suckered me into being on the show with them, and they cornered me and they were like, "You better do it, or else we're gonna
Yeah,
hug
she said
you."
she
And
could
I was like,
fight,
"God."
and I have yet to be hit. So
That's good.
I'm gonna need you
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to retract part of that statement, because I don't want to get canceled because you said that we cornered a woman.
you can
Nobody
corner
puts
that.
Bonnie in a corner. They cornered me in a metaphorical corner with words and not actions. We're gonna say that. My
Through
brain
o-
isn't braining right now.
Bonnie's saying through online bullying, a targeted campaign against Bonnie.
Oh no, I was online bullied for other things, not by these guys. But
Oh, thank goodness.
yeah, for other
We
things.
told her
completely
she'd be
unrelated.
paid, and
Yeah.
she still
Yeah,
believes that.
I did.
If you
And
bully,
now it's gone to like, it'll be really good exposure for your career. And
We keep telling her the check's in the mail, but
So
that's it.
if you bully Bonnie online, we will metaphorically kick your ass.
yeah. So Mike, y'all watched it
I don't
while
know.
it was
that was
airing.
a ball. That wasn't even.
I did not know.
You did not. Did you watch it all at once,
Yeah.
Mike?
Yes. I
Bonnie,
watched
did
the
you-
first 2 seasons to get ready for the 3rd season because
Ah.
Mark had planned a 1,000 person episode of
Of
a
the
Ted
whole
Lasso
universe.
Star Wars hardbread.
Sure.
So
So
I was like,
Kenny-
I better watch this because he
So
also
they-
kept getting people on
Yeah.
our other podcast who would watch Ted Lasso to talk about Ted Lasso Star Wars connections.
Yeah.
And I was
What
like, I have
what
no
I
idea
did
what y'all are talking about.
was I backdoor piloted this in that during the season 3 of The Mandalorian. I was like, I'm gonna get a bunch of Ted Lasso podcasters on the show to talk about The Mandalorian. But what I'm actually trying to
It
do
also
is Mike to watch Ted Lasso.
it helped your cause because season 3 of Mandalorian was awful. So
Not according to the Imperial March Madness bracket.
That's a different conversation. Bonnie, did you have a similar experience with Mike of watching seasons 1 and 2 and then watching 3 as it aired?
Didn't it? Wait, did season 3 come out last year?
Season 3 came out roughly a year ago.
Then I did see it as it was airing. Okay, so I saw the first 2. That's right. I was at my friend's place in Seattle, and she was trying to get me to go through it because I was going through a divorce. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I didn't know that. She didn't spoil it for me. So I watched the first 2 seasons and then started watching season 3. Now I remember. Goldfish brain. We're there. And really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, okay. And that's when I actually sat and watched it presently. But I'm excited to rewatch it with these guys and talk about it. And I'll be fully present during our rewatch.
Yeah. And Mark, you watched it whenever it was just getting released, although it sounds like we had
I
similar
came
watching
into it.
experiences.
Yeah, I think I came into it after season 1 had aired.
Yeah.
So I watched all of season 1, and then we had to wait for season 2 to come out, and then wait for season 3. And in between season 2 and season 3 is when I found those, like the NBC Sports short stuff, because I was just like trying to find Ted Lasso content to consume. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, cool. What's this? It says it's from 10 years ago. What the hell?
Yeah.
And I introduced that to these two when we did that episode because they hadn't seen those before until we did that episode talking about those. So that was fun too to get their kind of first impressions of that.
Yeah.
the link will be in the description, folks. You can go back and listen to that one.
Because Tan Lines kind of is a Rosetta Stone of a mission statement. I could just say it's a mission statement for the show. Because
Do
it
we
starts.
need it to be the Rosetta Stone?
It needs to be. It's a compass to a Rosetta Stone of a mission statement for what Ted Lasso ends up becoming. Because for the first 4 episodes, you think that it's kind of diet Major League, but with a healthy dose of kindness. And then this episode comes along, packs an emotional wallop, and then the premiere of season 2 happens, and the show becomes something way different.
We'll get there.
And then the Beard episode happens, and it's another signpost of we're going to blow the show up a little bit more. And then season 3 happens, and it blows it up even more. Because the show is always interested in trying to push themselves, trying to say something that is meaningful, while also being extremely funny. Like, Ted's sense of humor is what I love so much about Ted Lasso is he does jokes the way that I do jokes, which is he's going to do them because they're there. You have to make them because they exist in the ether. You must say them, and it doesn't matter if there's a reaction or not. He's going to do them because it amuses himself, and also because there is always a simmering tension of I need to entertain everyone around me.
So his inner feelings he doesn't want to feel. So.
Correct, Mundo.
Yeah. When you were describing all that, all I could picture was Stefan from SNL saying, Tan Lines is New York's the hottest nightclub. It's got everything. It's got comedy. It's got emotions. It's got people banging their heads on ceilings.
It's got a crying wife. It's got a son who makes jokes, who does puns.
Yeah.
And wankers.
What's a wanker? It's a person that's got have a lot of alone time
That's
in,
such
in
a
their
good joke.
thoughts.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good joke.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we get to see in this episode, Roy
Retard
basically
sucks.
is in embodying the captain role 100% now, just if not 100%, 99%.
Yeah.
Which full circle moment because they said that was going to happen, and it did.
Yeah.
Beard
Mhm.
and Ted predicted that.
Yeah, like when Jamie continues to suck in this episode, and doesn't help Sam when he's hurt, just steps over him or like tries to like roll him over. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Excuse me, mate.
Oi! Check on your fucking teammate!
The captain dispensing some wisdom to the young superstar. Nothing wrong with that.
Sam,
Yeah.
I have to move you there. There you go.
And
Yeah.
it pisses Roy off so much that he's about to like beat the crap out of Jamie.
I wish somebody would.
I mean, I'm assuming that Jamie's dad probably did when he was a kid.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well
We'll
now
get
make
there.
me feel bad about it.
You shouldn't.
spoiler
Yeah.
alert! Spoiler alert! We'll see Jamie get smacked in the face by his dad in season 2. But yeah,
It's
like
season
with
1.
season 1 was was it
Yeah.
season- It's all together in my head. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
that's in Man City, isn't it? We'll get there. Spoiler for an episode we'll do in a few weeks.
Look at that.
But yeah, and then like Roy helps Sam.
Pay
like,
attention. We're telling you it's going to happen. Don't
It's
be
gonna-
surprised when it happens.
Gives him a pointer on basically how to like play it up and walk the field with the injury, so that like people
Which is
look at.
it's a soccer joke for us Americans.
Yeah.
And then Ted also makes the call to pull Jamie from the match. Well, he checks with Rebecca and then makes the
Oh, yeah.
call.
I want to bench Jamie. But I didn't want to do without checking with you first.
Ted, you're the manager, so whatever you decide, you have my full support.
Thanks, boss. All right. Later, alligator.
I liked
and then
that too
makes
because
the
they're like, oh man, that's impressive cardio because he's not.
That one
slowing down.
announcer was great.
Oh, Arlo White, or the other dude. I don't remember the other dude's name.
I don't know their names.
Arlo is the
What
one
do
that
I-
is usually talking, and Chris is the one that is coming up with these wonderful, almost non sequiturs. It's
Yeah,
fat.
the other Chris, because Chris is the one who was like a player, and Arlo's like, "What do you think about this?" Well, I don't know, and then that's the end of it.
Yeah, but Ted recognizes how good of a player Jamie is, but it's at the expense of the rest of the team, so they're able to get points.
Yeah.
Get goals. It's called goals, right? I love sports. Ugh. But by pulling Jamie, it makes the rest of it gives Sam the shot to be able to make the goal and strengthens the team more because everyone is just kind of relying on Jamie, right?
Yeah.
That is the plan. Give Jamie the ball and stand back.
Yeah.
We see that come to again later when a certain avocado farmer joins the team.
Not far.
You'll need Scott Bakula to get there. We're not going to talk about it here.
Ah,
Hate
you're
that show.
taking a quantum leap to the end of the episode?
Oh, I thought you were talking about NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah, I
I
was.
thought you were
Oh,
talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I thought you were talking about men of a certain age.
We are.
I thought you were talking about Star Trek Enterprise.
I thought you were talking about the side plot in American Beauty.
I thought you were talking about Cats Don't Dance.
Whoa, Bonnie.
Right.
Bonnie.
See you guys later.
Bye.
True.
Bonnie goes to put on the
Oklahoma.
Blu-ray copy
You look
of
that
Shoot
up.
You.
She won't be Bakula.
She might
feels
not.
like that feels like a Ted
If we
joke.
keep talking about Man of Steel and stuff, she might just
Hmm.
kick us out.
I'm fine with that. Fine
I'll
with
just
that.
have my Buffy cardboard cutout sit in on the next recording, the next episode we record. Just put her in my booth, headphones on. You won't
Bakula.
be able to tell.
Man of Bakula. Scott of
Not your
Steel.
best. That's okay.
Scott Steele. Oh,
I like
Scott of
Scott of Steel. That's better.
there you go.
Scott of Steel.
Yeah. The other thing that I liked in this episode too is like after Ted does that, this is like one of the first times Ted does like an inspiring speech, and then
Yes.
slaps the believe sign. That GIF. Some people pronounce it GIF.
Yeah, I give you GIFs for your birthday and Christmas. I give you GIFs.
Yes.
Yeah.
GIFs.
The title of the episode. The title of the
Yeah.
episode is in this speech,
Damn.
and it's so marvelously acted by Sudeikis.
Yeah.
I put down that for under my like quotes I liked from this. If you guys want me to start reading and then through the magic of editing, it'll go into that clip.
That would be great. Yes, I would love to.
It was like,
Well, when do we cut you off? So, like,
that's editor choice.
okay, I'll mute you now.
What? No, it's gotta be a segue, cool thing where it's like someone's reading a letter that someone wrote to them, and then that person's voice.
I'll record
the
scratch
letter.
it and just be like,
Fellas, we're broken. We need to
We're
change.
broken. We need to change. And look, I know change can be scary. 1 minute, you're playing freeze tag out there at recess with all your buddies. Next thing you know, you're getting zits, your voice gets low. And every time your art teacher, Miss Scanlon, leans over your desk to check and see how your project's going, you feel all squiggly inside. She was a striking woman. Not classically beautiful, but striking. First time I ever saw tan lines. Most of the time, change is a good thing. Now, I think that's what it's all about. Embracing change. Being brave. Doing whatever you have to so that everyone in your life can move forward theirs. 'Cause maybe it's the only way you can truly help her be happy. Obviously, by her, I'm referring to Lady Football.
but he wasn't referring to Lady Football.
Nope.
Was he?
I always like those little cuts to beer too. He's like, nice save.
Metaphor.
On the
I
page,
also appreciated that too because he's
on the page, that monologue could be disastrous.
as seen by me saying it instead of Jason Sudeikis.
Hey now.
You're a rock star.
Don't talk about my friend like that, Mark.
Don't
It-
talk
it-
about Arizona Mark that way.
Don't talk about Arizona, Mark, like that. But it
It's
is
an inside joke for Patreon members of the Trek Wars.
my
podcast.
Patreon. Let me change that real quick. But Sudeikis is able to flex and show his acting chops right there, because before the show, I didn't really know that he had that range.
What's up with that?
Ooh-wee.
Has anyone seen Colossal?
Yes.
Bonnie, Mike?
Negative.
It's a movie about alcoholism.
Yeah. And
Is that a movie
So,
about the
So
Marvel
it's a
character
fun,
Colossus?
so it's a fun watch. It's a very fun watch. It's not depressing at all to watch.
it's not depressing at all. I did enjoy it. I saw it at Fantastic Fest back in 2016, and Sudeikis shows some. That's the first time that I saw that Sudeikis can do something that is more than just kind of smarmy jerk. And then Ted Lasso, I mean, completely subverts that image in such an unexpected way. But then, I mean, in doing the 3 seasons of Lasso cast, it's actually, it seems like he's going to something that's a lot more authentic to what the heck his experience is, because he grew up in Kansas. I grew up in Northeast Oklahoma, and a lot of those mannerisms, and
Oklahoma?
a lot of that emotionality, Oklahoma. A lot of that emotionality feels so familiar to me. I don't know about y'all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, didn't grow up in there, but so the mannerisms aren't there, but
Sure.
the content is very similar.
Yeah.
I just know that the wind comes sweeping down the plain there.
Yes, can confirm the fastest wind speeds on record are in Oklahoma.
And the corn sure tastes sweet.
Is Oklahoma known for its corn?
No. No.
Wait, I don't
What's a
remember the
Sooner?
lyrics to
Oh,
Nebraska's known. Nebraska's known for corn.
I can actually explain what Sooner is, if you would
Please
like to
do.
know. A Sooner.
Can you do it sooner rather than later?
Get out of here. Mark, get out of here. Bonnie, would you like to know
When
what
will
a
then
Sooner
be
is?
Oh.
There goes Mark. Okay,
Oh.
so
It's like,
here's
there
what
you go.
here's what a Sooner is. So
I can take
everyone
it
is familiar with the land rush, land runs.
I'm familiar with the band Rush.
Okay, band rush. It's kind of like a land rush. It's kind of like the band rush, but completely opposite. During westward expansion, there were a whole bunch of things called land rushes, where someone would shoot a gun in the air, and a whole bunch of settlers were at a line, and they would just claim land that wasn't theirs, but they put a stake in it and be like, "Get out of here, indigenous people."
America.
Yes, and so that happened in what was known at that time as Indian Territory, because all of the Native Americans, the indigenous folks, been relocated into the state now known as Oklahoma. And then I believe in 1889 there was a land rush that happened, and or a boomers that were participating in the land boom that was going on. But Sooners were people that crossed the line and planted their stake in the land before the land rush had even started.
Oh, so they did it sooner.
Yeah.
I get it.
They cheated. That's what
Mhm.
you're saying.
They cheated. So Oklahoma
So they're
named
assholes.
the University of
They're like-
Oklahoma named their team after folks that cheated in the land rush, which land rush itself is cheating.
Wait,
I mean,
so
our
they named
high
their
was
sports
named
team about
a
cheaters?
racial slur, so
Yeah, they named it.
Oh, yeah,
about-
Redskins, yeah.
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 the Maroons or the Chiefs. We
Okay.
were
The Sky, they should make it the Sky Chefs.
Auburn.
Just have Julia Child be the mascot.
No, they're just the Chiefs now, and their logo is now a train.
That makes sense. I think the Maroons should have just had Bugs Bunny.
Well, we were supposed to be.
Yeah, Mother Maroon.
Who are the Maroons? Is there a sports team called the Maroons?
Our high school that we went to in New York State.
Our high school.
And our marching
We were
band.
supposed to
The
be-
Maroon Vanguard Marching Band of
right,
Auburn,
we
New
are.
York.
We were supposed to be renamed Harriet Tubman, but all the racists stood up and said we can't be named after Harriet Tubman because that's not menacing enough.
Because the color maroon is menacing.
Well,
I was like,
instead of Auburn High, we were supposed to be Harriet Tubman, and then they were going to change the mascot.
Yeah.
But they were like Auburn
so
High,
what?
like who's going to know what Harriet Tubman is? Blah blah blah.
Wait a second.
What
Wait
were they
a
going to
second.
change the mascot to?
I don't know.
Pump the brakes.
I feel like
Your
that could have been
foot-
problematic.
Your sports teams were named the Auburn Maroons?
Correct.
I thought my high school sports team name was pretty bad. It was the Sand Springs Sandites.
This is all going to get cut from the episode.
No, you leave it in.
Prior to the Maroons, we were the Indians, and then there was a moment where they were the Chiefs, and then they were the Maroons.
And then before that, it was the Al Jolsons.
Maybe.
And then before that, it was the Typhoid Marys?
I was going with what's his name in Othello?
Othello.
No, who played him? What's the actor's name?
You're gonna have
Shakespeare.
Which
Orson
one?
Welles in Othello.
Okay.
That one actor who played that guy.
The most
Othello, as Bonnie can probably confirm, famously, the least performed Shakespeare. Only played once. You can easily identify who played Othello, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It was Orson Welles who I was thinking of.
That's right.
Omar Sy. Oh.
Anywho,
Tan Lines?
Yeah.
we were talking
Great.
about
What do we
tan
say?
line.
Great episode.
What do we rate it out of 5?
Who goes first?
Bonnie goes first.
4.5. Going with the half here.
Excellent.
Then we'll go to Mark.
I still have
He's
stuff
deep
I
in
want to
thought.
talk about the episode.
We can rate it and
But
then
I'm gonna
talk
say
about it.
I'm gonna say 10 out of 5
10 out of 5. You
because
know,
of how
you
good we're
forgot how to convert metric to imperialism?
imperialism.
Yes, that's what we do here, the imperialism system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Sam would be cool with that.
Sure.
He's not.
Anyways,
We know that. We'll find that out next episode.
Mike, what do you rank it?
I'll give it a 4.5 as well. Yourself?
I'm going to join Mark and say 10 out of 5. I'm going to break the system. This is a superb, meaningful piece of television that is also superb comedy writing, subversive comedy writing in the sense that it is challenging the comedy status quo and trying to do something different in the medium while also still being extremely funny. It reveals that the entire show that you've been watching is actually secretly this entire time been a tightrope act that they are surprisingly pulling off. And the show gets way more ambitious after that.
A little too ambitious at the end.
I agree with that assessment, but I would accept someone that tried and failed versus a show that was just going
Agreed.
back to the tried and true. You can say many things about Ted Lasso, but you cannot say that it didn't try. And it all starts right here. Yeah.
Right. Now.
and like one of the things becomes important for the show too happens in this episode too is with like when Nate jumps into Ted's arms there in that spot. That's like where that picture comes from. Eventually, that becomes important to their kind of friend mentor relationship that they have. And then I also liked at the end of this episode too, where like it's another one of the like Beard and Ted on the bench outside of the pub there.
That's the first one where they do the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, hit him on the bench, drink the drinks together, and then drinking it. Yeah, at least it's and then, like the highlights of stuff in the that was like what I liked in there too. We already talked a little bit about character highlights of like Higgins and his wife's marriage, and I had like I had like that entire scene between Ed and Michelle and my character highlights thing too. Yeah, so there's that the Diamond Dogs precursor scene too, where it's like Ted to Nate begins. He's like, I think at some point realized that me being around so much was doing more.
I think at some point I realized that me being around so much was doing more harm than good. Like anytime I tried to solve any of her problems or do something sweet for her, it just would backfire.
Give her a little space. Oh, and I like how this is also where like that little joke of like Nate and his dad being a cartographer, which again something else that'll come back. I liked that was kind of inserted there too. But yeah, I guess I would just start like with that, like Mike, when you put this, when you edit this, it's just, I would try to just put that scene of Ted and Michelle like around right.
You're jumping ahead.
Here.
I'm not thinking about that right now.
But when you're watching this is where you're gonna put it right here.
I'll forget.
Until you're watching it right now. I'm like,
I'm gonna write that down. Put it in some notes that I can review later.
Right here.
I promised myself I would never quit anything in my life.
You're not quitting, Ted. You're just letting me go.
But you also have the Roy and Keeley foreshadowing.
Oh yeah,
building blocks, mega like hit hard in this episode.
Yeah, I liked the foreshadowing there too. It's because it's like as Ted is talking about meeting Michelle in a parking lot with like them being the only two in the parking lot, it like has that voiceover as essentially Roy and Keeley are doing the same exact thing.
That's not when they're meeting each other.
Well, you know,
They've
but
met
it's like
each other.
the same thing is kind of happening. Although, didn't they meet in the
I'm assuming they've met many times because of her relationship with Jamie.
Yeah, with Jamie. Yeah.
But my favorite part of this episode where he's just like, they're going back and forth about how they're like the relationship, and Roy's just like, he was being a prick on the field. That's what I got going for me over here. Hey, look, it did it.
The thumbs. Yeah, and then he
It did it when you guys did something earlier. It gave me a thumbs down on my face for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't like you. Yeah, like, and then he
Not many do.
apologizes just for being like a jerk. He's like, I was being a dumb idiot.
But accountability is what matters. That's what you got to remember. That's what Keeley's digging about Roy. Is his being accountable.
Because that's the exact opposite of Jamie. And one of the other things I thought was interesting here too, like as far as foreshadowing stuff, was like there's as they're talking about like the marriage stuff too, and Coach Beard is like, ha, and Ted says that Coach Beard's thoughts on marriage, or Coach's views on romantic relationships are not too dissimilar from his views on the cooking steak. Spend more than 5 minutes on one that loses its flavor. I just thought that was interesting that with the only character we see get married in the entirety of this show is the one that we were told that's what their viewpoint is of relationships.
Unless it's all a dream.
It's real. It's real.
Apparently it's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's just time crunches, CG crunches. Making TV is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
The other thing I liked there too was that when Ted runs to Michelle and Henry, he's like, "Oh, I thought you'd meet me halfway, but that's all right." Come.
That's a metaphor.
Yeah, metaphor.
That's why I'm saying she's already let go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, spoiler alert to the very, very last episode, is like that's a lot of people's criticisms too, is that like when he goes back to Kansas, that like people are like, she didn't, like, they didn't even like meet him at the airport to like bring him home from there, yet like Rebecca like went to the airport, bought a ticket to say goodbye, and like, I don't know, it is like, I know that's more of like a, I know that's more of like a,
too hard.
That feels more just like an editing, like what you want to be, like you're cutting down on what you want to be in the episode there. So they're like, why have all of these scenes in an airport in this episode when we could just have him getting out of the car at the house instead?
Yeah.
Which, that's probably just as simple as what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Although,
I think we really hit a lot of the big things though.
Yeah.
In that
you can wrap
hour
on
and a half.
the music and then say see you later. I liked the music in here a lot too. It's like they have the Wishing and Hoping Dusty Springfield song, Bring It On Home to Me. It's by Sam Cooke, who, if you're a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, that might have been the first time you heard that song. It was in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. You had the Jamie Tart to the tune of the Baby Shark tune appear in this episode. And then we had the Mumford and Sons song Forever, which I think is the first Mumford and Sons song in is neither the theme song of the show nor the score to the show. And I'm pretty sure that they wrote it specifically for this episode too, I want to say.
Well, the lyrics would lend credence to that.
Yeah.
I don't remember them off the top of my head, and I didn't write them down, but they are quite
Clearwater
on the nose.
Yeah.
I have a quandary for the panel. Do you think Jamie Tart's name was chosen because of the Baby Shark rhyming scheme?
No, not the slightest. I think they
he's a tart.
Fell backwards into that delightful delightful thing.
Because when did Baby Shark become like a thing? Was that like
2019?
29. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
You think it was that late? I thought it was earlier than that. I don't know.
pretty sure it was 2019 is when it blew up. Yeah.
No, look at that. I thought it was like 17 for some reason. I thought
Yeah,
that was
it's
exactly
2019.
There you go.
Yeah. Tan lines.
Pink Fong.
Great episode of Ted Lasso.
Scares the crap out of me every time.
Every single time. That was Mike that time though too. It wasn't me.
It was me every time this time. As Roy would have you believe, we are calling an end to this glorious conversation we had about the episode taglines of Ted Lasso.
So
Episode 5, which is episode 6 for us,
That's right.
because math reasons.
The math be mathin'.
maths or whatever it may be. But yeah, if you're watching this, somewhere below Kenny, there's a website address that says richmondwaypod.com. If you direct your attention to the lower half of our screen.
Opposite way, Bonnie. Opposite way.
It's over here for me.
Oh.
Here.
Interesting.
Oh, there you go. Now
There
it's
we go.
it can be
Right.
under any one if our screen gets moved.
That's right.
But
I wish I could move the actual thing, the lower third.
But you can't. Now can't. Oh, this Bobby. Oh, this your buggy.
yeah, so yeah, as we can see this, and as Roy's whistle said, and as Sylvie's mouth says, she's getting tired of this. So
We'll also throw this up there for our guest,
yeah, because that's already in there. So
Penny
why not?
Madison.
And then also go to vosuperhero.com too for
Oh, hey,
for-
thanks.
yeah. That's if you haven't seen it on screen, it's under Bonnie's name there. Just instead of the @ symbol, take that off and put a .com after it instead, and then there you go.
If you Google voiceover superhero, you'll find me.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you'll just see a picture of Bonnie there, or maybe not necessarily right there, but it'll be like a silhouette of like a superhero, and if you see the colors green and purple, then you went to the correct spot. If you didn't go to the correct spot, it won't be those colors. But anyway,
vosuperhero.com.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys are the best. Thanks.
you're welcome.
SEO, baby.
Bonnie's here.
SEO.
I'm not. No, I'm just kidding.
We know.
I'm kidding.
I am.
Even when we talk trash about Man of Steel, I'm still grateful to be here.
You didn't leave. That's all that matters. Where else can they find you, Kenny? Anywhere else?
Of course, like y'all already said, you can find me at my active podcast at this moment in time, TrekWarsPod.com, or the Trek Wars Podcast, available where podcatchers are listenable. We are the only, as far as I know, podcast that is trying to answer the one question, the most important question in fandom, which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars, by going through both properties in chronological release order. Check that out at TrekWarsPod.com. I think a great episode to start off with is, of course, the episode that what the Caravan of Courage episode is. What the Holdo Maneuver boys, Mark and Mike.
Battle for Endor.
Battle for Endor. Sorry, Ewoks movie number 2.
Wilfred Brimley.
Yeah, and the Cocaine Rabbit.
And the Cocaine Rabbit.
Which is the better of the two Ewoks movies. So you can find that. And also, if you're interested in more Ted Lasso talk, head on over to lassocast.com, where you can listen to both myself, well, all three of myself, John Rhodes and Saida Fortune Rhodes, talking about every episode of Ted Lasso, as well as interviewing some of our favorite film critics, crew members, and cast members like the aforementioned Mo Judy Lamar, Tahij Jamil, Jeremy Swift, Sarah Niles. We had an embarrassment of riches. So lassocast.com over there. And then, I do shows in Austin. I don't know. What do you want me to do? I do comedy.
He's just there, folks.
I'm just here.
Catch him sooner than later.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Oh, this is Lady
Yeah.
Puppy.
Sylvie's telling us to wrap it up. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in.
Hooper.
Poop Beth. Make good
There's that.
choices. As always.
Should you need to. Make
if
the
you need
good
to,
choices.
probably watch this episode again.
Or Man of Steel.
Bye.
Bye.
So until next time, folks, be curious, not judgmental, and keep rewatching. This is Ted Lasso signing off. As the man once said, the harder you work, the luckier you get.